You just heard from the three candidates running for the District 6 seat on the Albuquerque City Council. Now, as a reminder, early voting for the City Council elections begins on September 16th and runs through October 2nd. Absentee ballots must be received at the City Clerk's office no later than October 6th, which also happens to be Election Day. We have a link to all the details about voting in the Albuquerque City Council elections on our website, NewMexicoInFocus.org. This week, Gwyneth Dolan sat down with Israel Chavez, a candidate for the District 4 seat, which represents the Northeast Heights along the I-25 corridor. Now, we invited his opponent, incumbent Brad Winter, but Mr. Winter's campaign did not make him available for the interview.
Israel Chavez, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
You're running against the incumbent Brad Winter in District 4, which is a big chunk of north central Albuquerque. We did invite Winter to be with us here today, but he did not accept our invitation. First, I want to ask you about transportation. This district includes some of the city's biggest shopping areas, as well as one of its busiest intersections, San Mateo and Montgomery. It's a retail and restaurant hub, not far from the movie theaters, but some residents say it's not very walkable. It's not very livable. Do you agree?
You know, I think there's a real issue with my district in terms of public transportation, and you know, we're working on the city is working on this plan with the rapid transit, and I think a part of where it's misguided is that it doesn't include the rest of the city. It's a central corridor plan, but in my district that doesn't touch central at all, there's a real concern around how public transportation is going to be improved for my residents.
What about walking, though? I mean, are there some things that you think you could do to make it an easier place to get around on foot?
You know, I think that's a challenge, especially because of the size of Albuquerque. My district is very, very expansive. But I think widening those sidewalks, making it a little more friendly in the intersections. I mean, we have very big intersections, similar to freeways. I mean, they're 6 and 7 lanes long. And so I think taking a real critical eye to the way we build our roads, especially in my district, will help us look at how we can also make it more walkable.
Are you roundabouts yes or roundabouts no?
You know, I think roundabouts have a place, and I think sometimes they work. I think the one in Old Town works really well. It keeps the traffic flowing. I think there's some roundabouts in the city where we think, why is this here? It's sort of almost like a speed bump. And I think we have to be very strategic about how we use roundabouts.
As you know, we just mentioned your district includes a lot of retail and restaurants, but many of them are chains. You got Outback Steakhouse, you got the Burlington Coat Factory, Chick-fil-A, stuff like that. You know, you've said you want to do more to encourage small business in the area. How would you encourage local economic development as a city councilor?
You know, my father was a small business owner for 25 years, and what I've seen in our city is that we don't have those advocates on the council that are really pushing for small business incentives. Albuquerque was recently ranked one of the worst cities in the nation for small businesses because a lot of our incentives go to the big guys. And as a councilor, I hope to work with local financial institutions to work on ways to free up capital, microloans, for these businesses that aren't bad businesses but are struggling. When my father owned his trucking company, there were times when the truck would break down and mom would have to pull out a student loan to fix the truck because the truck had to keep running. And if you're a local restaurant and your oven breaks, it doesn't matter how good your green chili cheeseburgers are. If there's no money in the bank, you can't fix your oven.
Your district also includes La Cueva High School.
It does indeed.
Great school, but also has seen a surprising number of its students get caught up in prescription drugs and then harder drugs like heroin and become addicted. What role could you play on the city council to help families in your district deal with addiction?
You know, and this isn't a recent problem. I have folks tell me that they graduated from La Cueva 10 years ago and this was a problem. It's only gotten worse. And like many of the city's issues, our governing body tends to wait until it's a disaster. We saw that with APD. And in my district, I hope that we can start addressing this now before we have an epidemic, before it's a disaster. And one of the things I want to start working on is bringing after-school, summer, and weekend programs into schools and into the district so that places like the North Domingo Baca Center are truly multi-generational. They offer a wide array of programs that also appeal to those younger folks who are struggling right now. When I was in high school, I didn't even know what heroin was, and now it's a common word. And we have to move beyond these policies like curfews that aren't gonna address this. When students are being offered drugs between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m., how is a curfew gonna affect that?
So is there something specific that you could do on the council to directly impact this?
You know, I think I see public schools taking out things like auto shop and wood shop, and I think back to my high school days, and I took auto shop. And then I went home and I rebuilt a 73 Chevy Nova. And that kept me out of trouble, that kept me engaged, and it gave me a sense of accomplishment when it did finally start running. And I think if the schools aren't gonna continue these fantastic hands-on programs, we can implement them in after-school programs. We can create those programs in the community where they're desperately wanted and needed by these teens.
Where there is drug addiction, there is often crime. And Albuquerque has sustained a relatively high level of property crime for a while now. How could you help people in your district feel that they and their stuff are safe?
And you know, my district actually has one of the highest rates, and it's been going up for the last 5 years. This is a systemic problem, and it goes back to our problems with APD. We need more officers on the streets. We need officers not just coming into our neighborhoods when something goes wrong, but also more cops on the beat. We need folks, officers, to have the time to walk through neighborhoods and bike through neighborhoods and change the way we police our neighborhoods, because we're struggling. I mean, I'm knocking doors every day, and every other house I go to says, you know, oh, my stuff was broken into. My grandmother's gold pendant was stolen and now is melted down. And that's unacceptable. We as a city can't accept sort of business as usual. We have to come up with real solutions for our officers, for our teens, and we haven't seen that.
So is adding more cops and getting them on their feet or on their bikes in the district the only way to impact property crime?
I think that's a strong way. I also think that our approaches with drugs in the district also help, right? If we get teens out of this, the reality is high school teens aren't going out there and looking for drugs. They're being targeted. People who sell drugs are targeting these teens because they know they'll buy them, and we need to break that cycle. We need to make sure that teens aren't needing to engage in property crime to do this. And this is not just about my district. This is a holistic approach. Our whole city needs to be policed in a different way, needs to feel safer, needs to discourage crime in a different way.
So if you're elected, you will be part of overseeing the APD reforms as they move along. How do you think this process has gone so far? Where do you want to go with it? You know,
what I've seen is a council. I have officers come and tell me, 10 years ago we went to the city council and said we need help, and they didn't get it. And now that a federal agency is in our state telling our councilors that they have to do it, now they're acting. And that's not leadership, that's being told what to do. And if we should expect our city leaders to engage and make sure that they're taking the lead role on fixing our problems, like the drugs problem, like our police department, and we should have implemented these reforms when the police department was suggesting them, not when a federal agency has forced us to, not when it's costing us millions of dollars a day to implement these reforms.
Is there anything about the proposed reforms that you don't like, that you don't want to do?
You know, I think they're going in a good direction. They've stopped officers from carrying their own weapons, which I think is very, very helpful. It changes the culture. I heard this secondhand from an officer. He said that they're simplifying the rule books for the officers so they're more understandable, they're more concise. I think that's fantastic. I think we should have done that much sooner. And I think one thing that I would push for even further is I think the council should have a role in selecting the police chief, if nonetheless to be able to ask those questions. What is your plan to police our city? How do you want to do that? Right now we don't get to ask those questions.
The Fair Workweek Act was a proposal that would have forced Albuquerque businesses to give their employees notice of their schedules far in advance. It would have given them some sick days and stuff like that. Now, the council did not vote on it. But if you had been there for this discussion and they had voted, would you have supported it?
You know, I think there are really good pieces to this bill, and I want to have a lot more discussion on this bill. Coming from a small business background, I understand that there can often be challenges with a piece of legislation like this. But when you're talking about paid sick leave or a reasonable schedule at a reasonable time, I mean, I think of mothers who want to go on the field trip with their kids but don't have the schedule and can't say if they can or not. I think there are really good pieces to this bill, and I would want to see a lot more discussion around this bill to see how it's going to play out. Oftentimes, this body has been a reactive body that passes legislation or takes up legislation on a whim, and I think we need to be the council needs to be a more a thoughtful body that really.
Now, Israel, when you're on the council, the discussion does at some point end and you have to vote. Now, if you were voting today, would you vote yes or no on the proposal as it was?
I think I would vote for the bill. I think there was a lot of good pieces to it. I would have preferred to see it. Seen a couple things change, but I think overall we need a different approach to city government, and this bill would have done things a little bit differently.
And just last, as we wrap it up, you are significantly younger than your opponent, and you have less experience. So why should voters in District 4 take a chance on someone new?
You know, I think after 16 years, which is the tenure of my opponent, we've watched our city struggle. We've watched businesses shut down. We have empty buildings all over the city. We have crime skyrocketing. Teen drug use in my district is coming out the roof, and we haven't seen true leadership. We haven't seen the solutions we need out of city council, and we have to, every once in a while you have to hit the reset button on your leadership. I think having a new perspective, having a fresh voice on city council will not only allow us to come up with different solutions for our long-standing systemic problems, but also think about how we're going to address the future of our economy, the future of our city. We're moving to a tech economy. We're moving to technologically oriented, everything. And we need to have councilors that understand that and know how to make policy or not make policy, right? Stay out of the way when we need to, or make policy that's important, that is relevant to the future of our economy.
Israel Chavez, thank you so much for coming in and talking with us today.
Thanks for having me.